it's Hailey, and today is Bookmas Day 12, so it's the follow-up to yesterday's video. I'm going to be sharing the worst books of 2021 according to you guys. I don't know if I'm wearing this shirt correctly. Like, I really can't figure out how it's supposed to be, but we're gonna roll with it. Please don't comment on it. It's fine. Also, my countdown has been wrong for the past, well, it was wrong yesterday because I just filmed it and then I realized it was wrong as I was trying to do the math in my head, but I can't do mental math, so I tried, okay? It's just there for the aesthetic. Don't count on it to actually count you down. I'm trying my best, but not working. But I am so excited for today's video because I did my little survey that I talked about yesterday. I basically came out with a Google form like at the beginning of November and asked you guys for a bunch of questions. I asked you guys for your favorite book of the year and your least favorite book of the year, and then some statistical questions too. So I went over the statistical things. Is that even a word? I went over those things though yesterday in yesterday's video, so I will have that link down below, as well as the entire Bookmas playlist if you guys need to get caught up at all. And also don't forget to click that subscribe button and then click the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post. I'm putting up a new video every single day for the entire month of December. This might be the last video that I do with the survey, although I did have a couple other questions. I might see if I can squeeze them in there. Also, if I didn't update my announcement video, I was supposed to do an anti-TBR today, but honestly, I didn't like how that video turned out, just because I don't like, there's nothing that I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna read that. And the books that I did say I was never gonna read were sequels to series that I hadn't started or didn't want to continue with. So I just felt like it was kind of boring, but I was today supposed to talk about 2021 releases that I never plan on reading, but I didn't like how it turned out, so we're doing this instead, and I like this better. But without further ado, let's just get into your worst books of the year. Don't be insulted if everyone hated your favorite book of the year, because everyone hates my favorite books. Everyone hates The Book Thief, and everyone hates Alice in Wonderland, but it's fine because I love them and there's more for me. I guess I should have done this as a countdown, and I should have done the other one as a countdown, but instead I started with the like most popular one and then went down to the least. Oh well, we're just gonna, should I do this one as a countdown? Yeah, I'll do this one as a countdown. So it was interesting because there were actually a lot of you who said that you didn't have a worst book of 2021, which is awesome. I'm really happy for you guys. That's amazing. But even the amount of people who like said that this book was their least favorite book was a smaller number than for the favorites, if that makes sense. So like for the favorites, it went all the way up to like the most popular favorite book of 2021 had 39 people saying it was their favorite. But for this one, the most popular one that's a least favorite is 11 people saying it's their least favorite. So it's kind of funny how the numbers differ so much. I don't know why, I found it interesting. So the first book with 4 people saying that this was their least favorite book of 2021 was Mexican Gothic. I don't actually even know who the author is for this book, but I do know what the cover looks like. I know it's a pretty popular adult book. I don't actually know what it's about at all. I have seen that it's very hyped up, so I was kind of surprised to see it on a least favorite books of the year list. But 4 of you guys agreed on that, and there were a lot of varying responses, so literally as little as 4 people, I felt like it was worth mentioning. So I'm very sad that this one apparently didn't work out for a lot of people, but it does have a lot of hype surrounding it, and maybe that's part of it, because this list does have quite a few really hyped up books, and I find that that's when, you know, the pressure's on, really, because then there's so much to live up to. So next, 5 people said that Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo was their least favorite book that they read in 2021, and this one doesn't really surprise me because it's so different than what Leigh Bardugo usually writes. So I can see people like getting into the Shadow and Bone Grisha verse books and then being like, oh, she has another book, and reading it and being like shocked and sorely disappointed because it's a dark academia story and it has a lot of trigger warnings, so definitely be mindful of that if you are going to read it. I liked it, but it's super different than what she usually writes, and it is kind of an acquired taste. There are some very interesting and weird things that happen in the story. I think it's going to be a series, and I don't think I will continue with the series, but it wasn't like I don't think for me was a worst. It was just like an okay. Next is The Project by Courtney Summers. So I actually have this book and still need to read it, but I'm not that surprised to see it on here because, and this was also 5 people said that it was their least favorite, but I'm not really surprised because I've heard people have told me when I mention it that they were really disappointed in it. This is by the author of Sadie. So I think with the like success that Sadie had, people were really excited for her next release, and then maybe it just wasn't what people were expecting. I haven't read it yet, so I can't really say so much about it. I know that it's like a cult sort of thing, so the idea does seem kind of similar to Sadie, but I guess the execution just isn't. 5 people also said that The Silent Patient was their least favorite book of the year. This is another one that like I've seen around, but I just haven't been particularly interested in it. So I was kind of surprised to see it on a least favorite, but apparently maybe it's just hyped up and like it's hyped up for people not liking it. I don't know. There's actually quite a few books that have 6 people who said it was their least favorite. So the first one that I'm going to start out with is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, particularly Siege and Storm, which is the second book of the Shadow and Bone trilogy. That one had 6 people saying it was their least favorite. However, there were also 3 people who said Shadow and Bone in general, and I don't know if they were talking about the trilogy or the first book, but I wanted to mention that as well. So I think part of this might be because they watched the TV show and then they read the book and then they see what happens in Siege and Storm and they're not happy with where things are going. So that might be a contributor, but I thought it was really interesting that Siege and Storm in particular, like not Rune and Rising, maybe they gave up after not liking the second book though, but just particularly the second book. Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco also showed up on here with 6 people saying it was their least favorite, which makes me sad because I really like that book, but like I said, it's fine. Everyone hates my favorites. Kingdom of the Wicked though, I would love to know what people's problem with it is, and not in a like, what's your problem with it, but I'm just curious what their critique was and why it was their least favorite. Maybe it just didn't mesh with them. I guess I should have like asked for more feedback. I can do that next year. This is just the first time I'm doing it, so I can do that in the future. However, either way, you know, it's not going to be for everyone. Every book isn't going to be for everyone, but oh well. Lore by Alexandra Bracken also came up 6 times for least favorite, and this one's kind of interesting because then I also did a what was your like favorite book released in 2021, like your favorite book that you read, and Lore came up quite a bit in that. I don't know, I guess it didn't like stand out enough to be a favorite, but out of 2021 releases, it did, but it also was a lot of people's least favorite. I still need to read that one though. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston is the first book on this list to show up on both lists that I've done. So it also showed up in yesterday's video about the favorite books of 2021. And that's quite interesting. So 6 people said that it was their least favorite book. And I think this might be a case of like Red, White, and Royal Blue absolutely blew up. So I can understand people, they have really, really high expectations. And I always feel bad for authors when that happens because like your debut goes wild and then you have so much pressure put on you that it's just, I don't know, that seems like a scary situation. But I haven't read the book, so I'm not sure, but 6 people said it was their least favorite. The Guest List, which I believe this is by, who's the guest list by? Next is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I've actually never seen this book, except I think my sister read this one. I don't know how she felt about it, but I don't know, I think it's a mystery. On an island off the coast of Ireland, guests gather to celebrate 2 people joining their lives together. I think it's going to be a mystery story, but oh yeah, but who is the victim and who is the killer? The story is all about the journey to the end when all is revealed. The first thing people also ask is who is the killer in the guest list? That's literally me. When I'm watching shows, I look up who's the winner because I just don't want to wait. And also apparently 6 of you said it was not worth the wait. And the final book that has 6 people saying it was their least favorite is one that also showed up on yesterday's list, and that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. So kind of skeptical now. Like I got that book because I thought it sounded really good and then it showed up on a lot of your favorites lists, but now I don't know. It could go either way. Once again though, that is a very hyped up book, so that always kind of has an effect on things. So from 6 we jump all the way to 9. 9 people have said that the following books are their least favorite of the year. The Lost Apothecary, which I recognize the cover. I have seen it everywhere and just haven't really been interested in it, but I was super surprised to not see it really at all on the favorites list of the year, but so much on this list. So 9 people said that it was their least favorite. It's really talked about, so I don't know where the hype has come from, but I definitely have seen this book a lot. 9 people also said that Normal People by Sally Rooney, I believe is the author, was their least favorite book of the year. This one I've kind of seen some like mixed opinions on. It's been really hyped up as well, but I know obviously a lot of people really haven't liked it. So it seems that 9 of you didn't, and you agree with the greater mass of people who don't really like it. I'm not sure what like the average Goodreads ratings are for these books. I should kind of look at that, but maybe next year that might be fun. You can let me know. Also, with 9 people saying it was their least favorite book of the year is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I felt like this list was like a lot more all over the place. There were a lot of books that were backlisted too, which is awesome, but this is definitely a backlisted book that has gotten a resurgence because of TikTok, like a major resurgence. And I really liked this book when I read it, and I know since it came out it has had like very, very polarizing opinions, so I'm not surprised to see that 9 people said it was their least favorite book of the year, because it definitely is one that people seem to either love or hate, and 9 of you hated it. And finally, the least favorite book out of all of them for you guys is one that showed up on yesterday's list, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. 11 people said that this was their least favorite book of the year, and I think it's so interesting because this book has been wildly hyped up. So like, is it the hype surrounding it? Is it the fact that, from what I've heard, I haven't read it yet, but that it's kind of slow, so it's more of an acquired taste? Is it just people are sick of hearing about it? Like, what is the deal here? I just think it's very fascinating that it showed up in a high position, obviously, on both lists, because it was like number 2 yesterday, and today it's number 1. So definitely when you're talking about a polarizing book, it seems like we have one right here. So those are all of the worst books of 2021 according to you guys. Like I said, don't be insulted. Like, it's not a big deal. It's honestly, everyone reads different books and has different tastes, so even if you're reading the same book, it's like you're reading a different book, because everyone takes something different from a book, which is the beauty of reading. So don't take it personally, it's totally fine. This is all in good fun. But thank you guys so much for participating in the survey if you did, and if you didn't get the chance to, you can follow me on Instagram. That's usually where I post these things. My Instagram is just at Hailey in Bookland, just like my YouTube name. Also, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you won't miss any more Bookmas videos. Tomorrow's Bookmas Day 13, and it is going to be a reading vlog where I have asked my boyfriend to wrap up some of the books that I have on my TBR, and I'm gonna find out which books they are as I unwrap them. So that's gonna be really fun. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in a new one soon. Bye!